All right, and we're back. And I'm with Morad Elhafed here, and I wanted to give a little session here. We're going to talk about why invest in translation. So I'm going to introduce Morad and Battery. Battery Ventures is Smartling's new owner. Battery was founded in 1983 and is a global technology-focused investment firm with offices in the U.S., Europe, and Israel, with over 10 billion in assets under management and having made investments in 500 plus companies. As a general partner at Battery, Morad focuses on growth and private equity investments in the software sector and led the Smartling investment. He's active in the firm's investment activities in North America and Europe. Morad graduated from the Ross School of Business at the University of Michigan, go Blue. Morad is also a member of the Forbes Business Council, where he contributes regular thought leadership. So we thought it would be interesting if, as part of our GRC here, to bring Morad and talk a little bit about his experiences around the world and his interest in Smartling in particular. And I think Morad has got a little bit of a unique background. So one of the questions I wanted to start with is, Smartling is in the business of bringing the world together through translation. Morad, can you share your experience with languages and how it's affected your life professionally and personally?
Yeah. Hey, Brian, thanks for having me. Super excited to be here and share some thoughts. And by the way, I got my Smartling sweater on, if you haven't noticed. Congrats on the announcement, by the way. Really excited to work with you closely. So that's a huge highlight here. But back to your question. It's interesting. I grew up in Morocco. I was born in Casablanca, and if you think about Morocco, it's kind of a funny place at the intersection of many cultures. And people in Morocco will speak 2 to 3 languages. There are about 4 languages spoken at a high level. French being a former French colony, Spanish being a former Spanish colony, Arabic, and then Berber. And it's funny because growing up, you learn a few of those languages and you start to mix them up. And sometimes we could use 3 different languages in the same sentence. And it's really interesting to be at the intersection of these different cultures. But what I've learned also is over time is how language could be either a barrier or it could be really an opportunity. And if you don't have the ability to come in and out of languages, it could be a huge barrier. But if you're able to overcome that and find a way to get across to the other side, the other person, it opens up a huge number of opportunities, whether it's on the social side, be able to travel and make sense of the world, or make new friends and not be limited in your horizons, whether it's in business and being able to do business around the world like I do now, or whether it's in science. You've seen it in COVID, how the world's kind of come together and scientists from all over the place, whether it's Pfizer vaccine, working with the Germans, being able to do that. And that could only happen if people can find a common ground for communication. So there's no question that, languages are very close to my heart. When I came to the US for college, I was 18 years old. I didn't speak English, by the way, at the time. So that was another language I had to pick up very quickly if I wanted to make any friends in here and be able to go to school. And maybe you can tell I have a little bit of an accent sometime, but that was also a really interesting experience where, very quickly I had to learn a new language because I just had no other choice, right? And so that happened. So with all that, as backdrop, when we kicked off at Battery a project, meaning an investment team around translation, going back 2 years ago, I didn't need a lot of convincing to understand, this is a critical market. It's a huge market, by some estimates, it's a $50 billion market. Still very much, services based, a lot of translators doing a great job, translating content. But again, most of our focus was on, whether this market is real or it exists, but it was more so on, how big can it be, and what, from an investment standpoint, like what is the best way to play it. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of background on how we got here. Yeah, it's been a nice journey picking up different languages along the way.
Yeah, no, that's a great story to share. I appreciate that. As an investor, I think it gives you such an interesting and unique perspective on the Smartling business and our customers. I talked a little bit about this earlier, just about having that experience, having living in a different country where you don't know the language, right? You realize very quickly that in order to make friends or to advance in business, you got to be able to speak the language in multiple languages, and you realize very quickly you can turn that into a huge opportunity. I think that's true for individuals, and I certainly believe it's true for businesses. We talked a little bit about, so what excites you about Smartling? Why invest in Smartling?
Yeah, I mean, it's really building on this theme. There's nothing more frustrating than not being able to be part of a conversation because you don't understand or you can't be understood. And I think when it comes to business, Battery predominantly invests in B2B, software companies that get to hopefully grow and get to a scale where they become very global, and they can't be left out of the conversation. We're growth investors and we're chasing growth, and growth comes along many dimensions. But at some point, we see a lot of our companies do well in the US and try to grow in Europe and APAC and places like Japan and China, and they have to be able to get their message across to be successful. They may have really good technology, really bright engineers, but ultimately to find click with customers abroad, they have to get their content across, whether it's marketing content, whether it's product content, or they're just communicating with their employees right on the other side of the world. And for sure, one of the main drivers behind our investments is content is only, volumes are only going up, right? There's more and more content being created every day. Most of that content is being created online. I've read some research that suggests 2/3 of content created these days is created online. And that content, again, can be translated, can be used in different contexts and cultures and sent to different people around the world. And the only way you can do that is by translating that content. When I said, when we looked at the translation space and came across Smartling, it wasn't about, can this be done? It was just how much of this content can we translate, how quickly, how much of this volume can we process. We can talk about Smartling specifically, but what stood out, to me and my team is how well positioned the company is, with its technology, with its people, with its brand, with its background to process content at a really, really high level, and be able to integrate with systems and ingest content, translate it, work really well with translators, and be able to push that back again in a very automated way to its customers. And that was a huge differentiator, for us when it came to Smartling.
Yeah, I remember when you and I were first having conversations about this business, what really got me excited was thinking about that confluence of the growing requirement for companies to be global, right? To reach those growth markets, the accelerating pace of content creation, and the fact that Smartling had created this tool, this sort of artificial intelligence powered solution that really dramatically simplified the whole translation process. Getting companies to, it was bad. Like when I was looking at the QBRs of some of our customers, I'm like, wait a minute, we're enabling them to get to market up to 90% faster and reducing their total cost of translation by up to 60%. This is really a remarkable tool, and I could think of so many companies that I've been involved with that would benefit from this type of products. That's really one of the things that got me excited about it too. And I think a big part of what we're trying to do is help create better awareness of the company, its products and services, but also continue to really invest in what I see this, this secular trend going forward is, which is the need for companies to get to market faster, to be global, to manage, to be able to deal at scale with just massive amounts of content, and reduce friction. So yeah, I think you and I had a lot of really good conversations about that in the beginning. Talk to us a little bit about, as an investor, how do you think about globalization and localization related to potential valuation in the companies that you invest in? How does that pan out?
Yeah, again, it goes back to opportunities, and obviously the more you expand the available market, the bigger you can be, and the more valuable you will be as an asset or as an investment, for sure. And so we look at whether it's companies in our portfolio or Smartling, specifically, the ability to go global, the ability to do that in a way that can still make these companies very successful locally is really the trick, right? So being a global business, being able to communicate and get messages across at a very local level, I think, is a huge differentiation. If you take a customer in Germany or in Japan, being able to have tools and technology and services available to them in their languages, almost purpose built, for the way they operate, could be a huge differentiator. And if you can't do that as a U.S. company going global, you're gonna lose to the players. You have to be able to be global, but fight at a local level and compete at a local level, and use your strengths and use those to your benefit, very locally. So that's been a huge part of it. But back on the investment valuation question, it's very simple, right? Again, big market, growing market. Whether you use $40 or $50 billion, and whatever, it's a big number. It's a market that's highly fragmented, many providers today. It's highly manual as well. And you look at what a company like Smartling is able to offer, which is better, cheaper, faster, and you kind of marry those two things, and you hope that that's going to be a good investment. I'm very confident this is going to be a good investment for Battery and our investors. When you look at the quality of the customer list, and we've talked to a lot of customers, Smartling customers, in our due diligence process, and we got really positive feedback about the product, about the team, about the technology and how they're able to use that, and the integrations. And I think there was a session earlier, they're talking about a Slack integration, and things like that are huge, I think, in making the workflow very efficient, and really work for everybody. So that to us is, those are the drivers of valuation and a successful investment, is being able to build a big and successful business. And you can only do that if you have a large market and you're the best at it. That's what it comes down to in our minds.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's so interesting to me when how much things have changed in the last 10 years or so. It used to be you could kind of build your product and sort of focus on your geographic market, and that was an opportunity. That was potentially an opportunity cost. In other words, well, we're just going to stick in the U.S. We're just going to stick in Germany or Japan, and that'll be the size of our market. But the reality is that today, especially with technology, there's always someone else that does what you do in another country. Maybe not now, but in a couple of years, once they figure out what you're doing that's interesting, they're going to start building someplace else. And so now that opportunity has turned into, my mind, a risk factor, right? So, okay, we're just going to stick in our market. We're going to do our thing. We're going to get really good. While you're doing that, some other company has decided to globalize. The next thing you know, they show up, in your country. And by the way, they probably got there because their customer that is global is like, hey, I need you. I'm doing all this business with you here in EU. Now we're going to North America, and you're actually a bigger partner to me than. And so I always thought that has really changed the sort of telemetry of competition as I think about it. So I think it's becoming more and more essential that very quickly, as you build a successful company, that you need to start thinking about globalization sooner than later, particularly in technology.
Absolutely. I mean, the world is going global. There's nothing, like it or not, there's nothing we can do about it. And somebody will go global with, somebody will build good products and be able to take them globally. And it's either you do that or somebody's going to do that and come to your home turf and win against you, right? So you have to embrace it. You have to navigate those, barriers, and you have to be good at it, right? And part of being good at it is do what you do best locally, take that, translate it, make it shareable across the world, and take those tools and weapons and compete, locally in a different place.
Yeah, no, that's right. I think that when I think about, the companies that I've been a part of in the past, one of the things that I love to do and really have a passion for is getting involved with a company that can give my customers or our customers a superpower, right? So when I think about WHI and the automotive SaaS business that we built, like we completely created new winners, right? Because we transformed the way auto parts were bought and sold online. It was, before it was completely manual. Then we moved to online, and the early adopters to that really built businesses from nothing. And then moving on to eBay, similar sort of thing. We built this global platform, and we're able to help entrepreneurs, people in their kitchens, people in little warehouses that they would rent, also create these global companies, selling products around the world and helping them really realize their dreams. And I see that same type of ability here or capability with Smartling, right? To help companies that are building great products. We want to be the easy button for them to help solve that globalization problem for them, that localization problem, and help them unlock that global market. So that's one of the things that really gets me excited about Smartling and being here with this team. What are your long-term goals? Maybe I should have had this conversation with you before. What are my goals? Is this turning into a review?
Yeah, exactly. What's most exciting is really building something that matters and helps people be more efficient in their work. I'd like to say make their lives better, but maybe that's over ambitious. But what's next is more of the same. I mean, Smartling is an extremely successful company. It's gotten here, the right way. It's built really good products. It has very happy and loyal customers. It has a great brand in the market. It has really good people in the company, and we've met many of them. And when I say more of the same, it's just build on it, right? The foundation is solid. Let's continue to grow our business. Let's continue to serve our customers. Let's continue to innovate, right? One of the things that Smartling is known for is innovation, and it's always been kind of ahead of the pack on kind of what's next in translation, whether it's AI and ML and helping make translators more efficient and faster and better and cheaper, and whether it's integrations, building more and more integrations with systems that our customers use. It's all of the above, and so we don't expect major change or a huge movement in one direction or another. We just expect more of the same. Hopefully it'd be better, to be faster, but that would be very positive to us. But it's continue to build on what's what's made Smartling successful and got it to this point.
Great. Well, I really appreciate you spending the time with us today. I think it was good for folks to hear from you, the new investor, and it's been a lot of fun working with you so far on this project, and it's such a great team. I really feel blessed to have such a great team here at Smartling to work with. It's been a lot of fun for me getting to know everyone, and I'm looking forward to spending more time with our customers and in the coming weeks. So. So this is the end of the this is the end of the exciting part of the GRC. Now we're going to get to see a band, but really the team has done such an amazing job today putting together all of this massive event. Super complicated. It's hard to do online. I'm looking forward to getting back in person next year, and really huge thanks to the marketing team, Malia and Kelsey and Jory and everyone that put all this together. Thank you, Morad, once again. Thank you, everyone, for attending. We look forward to seeing you next year. And everyone get ready for the band. We've got the dip.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Bye.